Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is the Basic Builder back in Valheim, bringing you another building video. Today's video, we're going to be building this apothecary set in the Black Forest, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. Alright, so a little bit of a backstory I think will be very nice to add to this particular build. So my thought was that a rogue diverger had left the Mistlands and decided to set up an apothecary, kind of a magical little hut here in the Black Forest. So that was kind of the story behind of why I decided to do this build. Another reason was that some viewers had requested it as well, so I decided why not go ahead and give it a try. Alright, so now that we got the floor put in place, what we're going to go ahead and do with this build is add in the 1x1 square blocks, and we're going to stack them 4 high on every single corner of this build to kind of outline the wood that you will see later on into the build. So in order to add a little bit of stability for the roof, I decided to go ahead and add in some wood iron beams, just holding shift and snapping them into the middle of the stone blocks, and then going back over the top and covering them with the regular stone blocks. This was going to be a 3-meter gap in between your columns that you had placed at the very beginning. So now that you've gotten all of your stone put in place, go ahead and grab the gate or the door and set them on the inside of the bottom block. That way you can kind of establish a gap and get in the wood in the center of the stone there. And then basically all you're going to do is line every single opening. As you can see, as we're doing here, you're going to line every single opening with the wood in order to kind of outline it and feature it. Alright, so now that you have outlined all your openings, go ahead and take your 2-meter horizontal core wood and snap them to the bottom of every single opening. Once you have done that, you're going to go ahead and take your 2-meter and your 1-meter horizontal regular wood and snap it on top of your core wood that you just placed down. Now that that is complete, we're going to go ahead and add some details. So in this little bit, you'll see that I'm using the dark wood arches. In the end, we're going to take these back out later in the video. So if you're watching it now, go ahead and take them out. That way it just prevents you from having to do a step later on in the build. So now that you have finished placing all your arches, go ahead and grab your regular wood walls and fill in the rest of the gaps where your windows are not located. So what we're going to go ahead and do here now is open up one of these openings and get ready to place kind of the stairwell, the stoop, whatever you want to call it, the front of the apothecary. So we need a spot for a door. So with this part, use your imagination. I decided, just due to the topography and the lay of the land, that a simple square to stairs down to a square again is going to be the easiest for me. So it really all depends on just the location in which you are building this apothecary. So in this section right here on this back wall, I did struggle a little bit, just the way that everything was lining up. So I ended up taking those stairs out and snapping the stone walls to the stone flooring. All right, so now that we've gotten all the stairs put in place, we're going to go ahead and take some wood and start kind of accenting the walls. So we're going to start with a little trim across the top of the build. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your 2-meter high vertical wood beams and rotate them to where they're it's hard to explain how many times to rotate them, to be honest, but you want to rotate them to where they're not sitting flush with one side of the wall. Once you complete that, go ahead and line off the bottom 1 meter off the ground all around the whole entire build. Once that is complete, you're going to take your 1 meter tall wood beams and you're going to rotate them on a 45 to every single wall and place them along the bottom. All right, so now what we're doing here is taking the 1 meter flat wall pieces and we're going to create a little overhang, I guess you can call it. I'm not really sure what you would call it, but you're going to take a little overhang and then place down 3 of them across the window itself, and then rotate twice the wood flooring in order to create kind of an angle. From there, you're going to take your 1 meter horizontal wood beam. You're going to hold down shift and you're going to place 3 of them, rotate it twice on either side to kind of mirror the wood flooring. And then at the top, you're going to do the same thing by holding down shift and placing them against the stone. So you can be kind of very creative, I guess you can say, with this one. You can place them over whichever wall that you want to. I think I just chose to do them on every single one that had a window. Alright, so at this point in the video, this is where we are going to go back and remove those arches in the windows, and instead we're going to use the fine wood dragon roof piece there in order to create this nice arch. One of the things you're going to notice here is I'm trying to snap in and cover up that gap with the 1 meter horizontal beam. So in order to do that across all the windows, before you do that, you'll see I will actually take the horizontal wood beam like that, and we're going to place them across all the windows. Once you put your horizontal wood beams in place, then you can go back and place down the dragon arches. Now that you've gotten all your arches done, you're going to go ahead and take this wall divider of the dark wood and place them on each side. And you can see in the video that I'm rotating them so they look symmetrical. From there, I was just kind of experimenting here to see what would look best without obscuring the whole entire view. But in the end, we're just going to take the 2 meter vertical wood beam and leave them flush with the bottom of the window, and place them by holding down shift and placing them in the middle. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and kind of finish off these corners of the stone, rotating the wood beams in order to like a 45 degree, and to kind of just finish off those columns there. From here, we're going to go ahead and put an interior trim. And again, we're just snapping these pieces to the walls. You're going to do that all the way around. So once you've completed that, this is where the most difficult part of this build comes into play, is the roof. Just with any other build, it is very difficult. You're going to do a 45 degree roof here, and you're going to use the I don't even know what the slanted pieces right there. You're going to kind of create a window, and then you're going to take your 45 degree beam there and hold down shift to kind of create that peak. And then you're going to take the 26 degree beams and rotate them twice to kind of even them out with the wall. From there, you're going to go ahead and take your horizontal 2 meter beam and place them out. Now, what we're going to do is repeat the same step we did with that front wall, and we're going to do that every what do we want to call it? Every other wall piece. With this part, just take your time. I can't stress that enough. Take your time with this section of the build in order to make it look good. All right, so now that you have completed that part, you're going to go ahead and take your 26-degree beam. You can see in the video that I'm actually placing 2. In reality, you're going to only place 1. As you can see now, I'm deleting those. So you're going to place those 26 degrees all the way around. And then you're going to create this kind of border or snapping point essentially for your roof pieces on every single one of those openings. Once you've completed that, go ahead and take your 45-degree beams and snap them to those 26-degree beams that you had placed earlier. And we're going to repeat the same steps as we did on the outside. We're going to go ahead and create this border on the inside with these 45-degree beams. And now the most difficult part of this roof is getting these peaks in place because there is no snapping point. So, like I said earlier, patience is very key here when we get ready to put the roof on. I started to do it and then decided I'm going to move away from it for a minute and kind of fill in the other areas before we go to this part. What made this roof so difficult was the fact that I built it on a 5-meter wall instead of a 6-meter wall or a 4-meter wall. Typically, when you have an odd number when building like a octagon or a round shape, it is very difficult to roof. So I knew that going into it, but a 6-meter wall was almost too big, and a 4-meter wall was too small, so 5 fit perfectly. Another key point when doing roofs is create snapping points. I can't stress that enough. In order to make your life easier when roofing in Valheim, create a snapping point wherever possible. Now that we've gotten all the easy part of the roofs in place, it's now time to do the most difficult part. So because there is no snapping points here, you'll kind of see that the roof pieces will snap in briefly. The problem was trying to get that mirrored all the way around this build. So what I did, and like I keep saying, I took my time, made sure I got it right. You'll see it in the video because I did not cut any of this out. I'm sure you've noticed the video sped up a little bit, but this part right here, for some reason, just did not want to cooperate like the rest of them. And I tried my hardest and hardest and hardest, and I finally got it. So patient pays off in the very end. So once you get that done, go ahead and take your 2-meter beams and snap them to the tops of those roof peaks. And to add just a little bit of decoration, I'm going to go ahead and kind of fill in that gap. Now that the most hardest part of this whole entire roof is complete, we can go ahead and finish it off by adding another 45-degree beam and then a 26-degree beam, coming to a point in the middle. At the very top, just take your 1-meter horizontal beam and rotate them at a snapping point. And again, we're creating some more snapping points to go ahead and finish off the top of this roof with the 45-degree roof piece and then the 26-degree. Now you can use the thatch roof for this build, or you can use the tar roof as I did. It is your choice. Alright, in the last bit of this roof, we're going to go ahead and take our 1-meter horizontal beam. That way we can create another snapping point and go ahead and put the ravens on each one of those window peaks. Now moving on to the entrance, I forgot to actually record the part where I put the door in. So that is all on you to actually do that yourself. Have fun with it. You can use whatever door you want to use. But going back to the video, we're going to be putting in a few columns just to kind of spruce up the front of this build and add a little bit more character to it. So we're going to go ahead and put some columns in. We're going to kind of cap it off on the top, and then we are almost done with the build. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and do what we did at the beginning over the windows, is to create that little wooden roof, I guess you can call it. And then we're going to go through and add a few more wood pieces to the stone walls, and then that will be the end of the build. So stick around and we'll go through the cinematics.